I still think about this encounter as an adult. When I was about 10, I'm 25 now. I was downstairs watching TV late at night with my mom and sisters. Everyone decided to head off to bed, and I was left alone downstairs. I started drifting off, and all of a sudden, someone started banging on our door hard. I'm talking, let me the fucking heart. I was so scared. I just sat there, frozen, staring at the door like my life depended on it. My dog was lying right next to me and also just stared. He never barked or moved an inch, which was odd because he always barked at the door. The door banging never stopped for what seemed like a solid 5 minutes. Wow, that's a lot. But in reality, was probably only 1 minute. I looked at my dog and I think because I finally moved my dog, snapped off his trance, looked at me for a split second and jumped up and ran toward the door. He still didn't bark, but instead started turning his head like he was confused. I finally got the courage to get up and open the blinds to see what was going on. And this young woman, maybe around 20, 25, was standing there, holding her left breast in her hand. Oh, that was not okay. It was still attached to her, but she had pretty large breasts, and she was holding it, trying to keep them from sagging, I'm guessing. Okay. She had blonde hair, white skin, and was covered in blood. Her shirt was ripped, and her hair was a mess. I remember thinking she may have gotten beat up or was a car crash. Either way, I immediately went to go open the door. As soon as I went to unlock it, my mom, out of nowhere, slammed her hand onto the door and relocked it. I had no idea she had even come downstairs, let alone walked up behind me. I was so focused on the door and on this woman that when she slammed her hand, it was almost as if knocked me up back to reality. Reality of not opening the door for strangers in the middle of the night. Yeah, don't do that. I looked up at her and I could feel my eyes were wide and I think I even started crying. She put her hand on my shoulder and moved me away from the door. She yelled, "Who is this?" through the door, and the girl yelled back at her boyfriend. Had beat her ass, beat her up, and they lived in the apartment across the street from us. Mind you, we lived in the townhouses in a cul-de-sac. What is that? Our unit was all the way in the back, where you will start the turn. We were the first unit in the row, but where she pointed out her and her boyfriend place at was quite away from us. You'll see how I know that in a minute. My mom asked her her name and she said something that sounded like something Annie. Maybe Bethany or Stephanie or something like that. I saw my mom hesitate to open the door, but after she yelled, "Please help me," my mom opened the door, stepped out, and pulled it close to shut, but not completely shut. I cracked the door behind her to make sure she was okay and also see what was going on. The moment we'll call Bethany kept thanking my mom and asking to come in because she was scared that her poor boyfriend was going to come after her. My mom refused and explained that she couldn't let her in because of the safety of her four kids, but said she would sit out there with her. My mom yelled at me to grab the phone and call the police, so I did. My mom started asking her what happened and what specific unit she lives in. She pointed towards her specific one and told my mom the building number and her unit B. The silver SUV pulled up a little later and she ran towards it yelling, "That's my sister!" and then jumped in. The car sped off without another word from her or a single word from the sister. My mom looked back at me confused and came back inside and shut and locked the door. We just stood there and looked at each other. I asked my mom what about the police, and she said she will wait for them downstairs if I wanted to go to bed. I was too scared to leave her, so I waited with her. Once they arrived, my mom explained what happened, and the officer said she did the right thing not letting her inside. Weird thing is, my dog never barked once until the cops knocked on the door. They also explained that they've been receiving similar calls like that in the area recently. Even worse, the next morning we all packed up to go to the grocery store. As we passed the building, you could tell the apartment was empty, like no one was had been living in it. Maybe they just didn't have any furniture or anything, but it was still weird. He never came after that night, and we never saw her on the SUV again. Bethany, Stephanie, I hope you're okay if this was real, but also if not, don't ever knock on my door again. Update. I did ask my mom to elaborate on everything, so after my mom yelled for me to call the police, I walked away to grab the landline in the kitchen. When I walked away from my mom said this to her. "Now listen to me. If you're trying to get over on me and hurt my family, I will do worse than what you're pretending your boyfriend did to you. And I will off you. Nothing means more to me than my children, not my life and not my freedom. I will help you if you need it, but you cannot enter my home. So don't ask again, or I'm going inside and I will lock you out and not help you. Do you understand?" I asked her what the girl. Your mom is a badass. I asked her what the girl did after that, and she said she just looked at her, kind of nervous. Yeah, she was lying, and said she understood and appreciated us helping her. That's about the time I returned to the door after calling the police and heard my mom asking her what happened and where she lived, etc. Needless to say, my mom was a boss bitch in the moment. She was. Wow. OP, your mom saved you. Like all these encounters are creepy. Like you don't really know who you trust like this. So yeah. Tell me in the comments down below times where your mothers had saved you from a potential creepy encounter like this. And yeah, see you next time, creepers. Bye.